You know, I'm not the biggest Hillary Clinton fan. Let me take that back. I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, period. Okay? I know her history. I know all the stuff. Well, at least I believe I know her history. I know all the stuff that she and husband Bill did that basically screwed over the African American community. I know we've gotten a lot of lip service from a lot of Democrats with very little in the way of results. I understand all that. But the Republicans, they don't even try to get into the game. And now Donald Trump is pushing out these fake ass black Republicans that are trying to sell us snowballs when we live in the goddamn North Pole. If they would at least live in the world of reality and come to us with something decent, some kind of proposal for improving our African American communities, give us something that we can at least look at. But these assholes, all they want to do is repeat Donald Trump's bullshit rhetoric. Now, you're going to see an interview between a black Republican chair of the Black Republican Party in Florida, like that's a really big deal. And you're going to see a radio commentator from, I guess, XM Radio, I'm not really sure. But I want you to listen to the black Republican try to sprout bullshit, and the radio host basically tell him that he's full of crap. And then when the black Republican is asked a specific question, and that question is, what specifically is Donald Trump going to do that will help and aid the black community, not the overall community, the black community? Watch his answer.
In D.C. Thanks for that, Kristen. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign is beefing up efforts to win over African-American voters. It could be a challenge, though. An average of 4 recent national polls finds Mr. Trump with the support of 2% of African-American voters. Let's bring in Sean Jackson, chairman of the Florida Black Republican Caucus, and Jason Johnson, politics editor at theroot.com, journalism professor at Morgan State University, and a contributor for Sirius XM Radio. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Jason, if I can begin with you. Trump's, polling lower than at most GOP nominees among African Americans. In fact, all of the most recent ones. Is there any one issue that is driving that?
Yes, it's Trump himself. I mean, look, there are many African American Republicans and African American conservatives that are out there that have been committed to the Republican Party, and he has alienated them.
Okay, just so that you know, approximately 15% of the African American community basically either are Republican or vote Republican in a normal standard year. Now, Obama running, obviously that threw a monkey wrench into part of those stats. But in a normal year, the African American community normally votes about 85% Democratic and 15% Republican. So Trump should be at least polling, somewhere around 10 to 15% with the regular black Republicans, but he ain't doing it.
Alienated them with his comments about Muslims. Remember, 20% of American Muslims are African American. He has alienated them with his comments saying, my favorite African Americans over here. He has done lots of things to turn off those African American voters, and that's why his numbers are so low. And I don't know if with 90 days left in the campaign that he can go from 0% in Ohio and Pennsylvania to the 10 to 15% he needs to be competitive in those states.
Sean, in May you told the Daily Beast, quote, the Republican National Committee does not have a vested interest interest in Black America. But you also said that Trump is addressing issues important to the African American community. I'm curious to get your thoughts on how does that translate into votes, and what specifically is he addressing that is appealing to the African American community as opposed to just the general community at large?
All right, now he asked him a specific question. What is Trump doing to specifically appeal to the African American community, not just the community at large? Watch this asshole's answer.
Well, first and foremost, I would have to completely disagree with what the gentleman just spoke on. Mr. Trump has not done or said anything, for that matter, to alienate African American support.
Oh, so you mean like retweeting blogs from white supremacist websites, that shouldn't piss off African American people? Oh, you mean like referring to the African American community as objects when he said my African Americans? That word indicates possession of a thing, okay? Oh, you don't mean like when Trump decided that he was going to go after the Central Park Five, even though they were innocent and teenagers. Oh, wait a minute. You don't mean that Donald Trump lost a housing discrimination lawsuit filed by the Department of Justice because he was discriminating against black people getting housing in the buildings that he owned. Basically none of that. And that doesn't even count the fact that Trump Jr. had on a white supremacist when he was doing a radio show, but a black guy came to him to try to get some time, and he told him he would have to get back to him and never did. You don't mean any of that stuff. Okay.
Mr. Trump has been quite clear and has remained on message that he wants to do everything humanly possible to support, promote, protect, defend, and rebuild the black community, inner city community.
How so? What specifics?
And that comes very simply from his economic policy plan, where he wants to lower taxes, where he wants to make child care at 100% tax deductible. Those two things in itself would help black families across the country wholeheartedly.
But you noticed he did not answer the question. The question was, what specifically is Donald Trump going to do to help the African American community apart from the overall community? He just posed two answers or two solutions that target the entire American population, not specifically the African American community. And it can be argued that that help is going to go to the upper 1%, or let's call it 2% of wage earners or income earners, and it is really not going to have any type of a major impact on the middle class and the lower income earners. So what that guy just sprouted is a bunch of bullshit.
Several other things as well, but you have to understand too that Mr. Trump has never said one racist thing or one derogatory thing, I should say, as it pertains to Black America. Okay, so
my African Americans is not derogatory. Oh, retweeting racist, white supremacist, phony crime statistics is not derogatory as far as we African Americans are concerned. Really? Okay.
All of a sudden,
I'm going to give Jason a chance to respond to that, but I do want to ask you one point. In so much as about economic policies and some of the things that Donald Trump is specifically saying, what about the issues that he's not addressing? Maybe some issues of racial justice and criminal justice reform. He has not talked about those issues on the campaign trail. Those are issues that matter to the African American community, no?
And that's not true, because Mr. Trump has very clearly stated, and Mr. Trump just recently put out a video after the last shootings in Louisiana and in Minnesota, where he says that he wants to make America safe again. How do you make America safe again? By making sure that you provide the tools and the resources to law enforcement necessary to help them implement.
Right. provide the tools necessary to law enforcement, the same assholes that are killing black people. Really, that's how he's going to make black neighborhoods safe again, by giving cops more guns, more carriers, more weapons to go into black communities and basically kill black people. That's how he's going to make the black neighborhood safer. This guy is a joke. He's a joke.
And community policing across the country, and so they can have more of a broader ability and capability of protecting residents within their respective municipalities and communities. He wants to do that now.
Okay, but notice he didn't answer the question, because the question basically brought up the fact that there's a racial inequality in the justice system. He didn't bring up anything about the justice system. He just talked about trying to beef up the police. You missed the boat on that one too, buddy.
Just for black Americans, he wants to do that for all Americans.
Losing.
Sorry, Sean, hold on one second. Go ahead, Jason. Jason, go ahead.
This is why the Republicans are losing, because they're not paying attention to their actual candidate. Look, Bob Dole got 10%. Chris Christie got 25% of the black vote in New Jersey. It's not like there aren't African American. I mean, John Casey, it's not like there aren't black voters that vote for Republicans. The problem is Donald Trump has associated himself with the Ku Klux Klan. Donald Trump has said hostile things about black lives.
No, because this is the problem.
Hold on, guys, 1 second. Jason, go ahead. Finish your point, please.
He has consistently said things that have alienated the black community, and rather than addressing those things and saying, let's reach out to those black Republicans and tell them there's still a space for them, they're treated as if that somehow black people haven't been hearing what he's been saying for the last year and a half.
Hillary Clinton has called black men super predators, okay? Hillary Clinton has worked with her husband, Bill Clinton, and she's not doing excuse me, this is my time to talk. Excuse me. And not only has she, excuse me, Hillary Clinton has also worked with her husband to ensure that she has incarcerated more black men than any other law in the history of this nation, to the point where the federal government is having to build, to the point where the federal government is having to build prisons per the capita of how many black boys are in third grade.
Okay,
so don't tell me that just because it was 20 years ago that all of a sudden Hillary Clinton is no longer being held accountable for her actions. Mr. Trump has never done one negative thing towards black America.
Sean, let me ask you this then. How do you explain as a Republican, how do you explain that Donald Trump is only averaging, and again, 4 recent national polls, only 2% among African Americans? How do you explain that? What's the reason behind that?
There was no other reason other than the fact that the Democrats and the liberal media have done their darndest, and they have done a very good job thus far as picturing Mr. Trump, portraying him to be a racist and a bigot, something that...
That is such bullshit. They don't have to portray Donald Trump as a racist and a bigot. He is a racist and a bigot. This guy is stupid.
He is not.
Okay, it's not his actions, it's not his words?
No. If we're talking about black America, we're not talking about Muslim America, or we're not talking about Hispanic America, but if we're talking about black America, Mr. Trump has never said or done one derogatory thing to turn off anyone in the black community. However,
bullshit. You want to tell me how Donald Trump went after and placed a full-page ad in the New York papers on the Central Park 5 when they were found innocent, and he wouldn't accept the fact that they were innocent, and he went ballistic. While those guys were wrongfully being convicted, he also took out a full-page ad asking that the death penalty be brought back so that it could be used on these 5 guys. Now, after they were found innocent because of DNA evidence, and the city of New York basically paid them a settlement, he went fucking crazy because he felt that they were still guilty and he wasn't accepting the evidence. So don't come here and say Donald Trump hasn't done one thing, okay? And as far as that Department of Justice housing discrimination lawsuit that he lost, not only did he lose it, the Justice Department had to take him back into court because he violated the agreement that he made in order to come out from under the Justice Department. He made a settlement, and then he didn't live up to the terms of the settlement. So I don't want to... let me continue with this dumbass.
What the media and the liberals have done a very good job of doing is insinuating and lying, blatantly lying, stating that Mr. Trump is going to send blacks back to Africa, which that's absurd to begin.
Now, I've never heard that one, so I think he's pulling that one out of his ass.
But there's no way you can
Jason, I'll say this. I just wrote a piece for The Root on Friday called "GOP Hires a Black Suicide Squad." Ashley Bell, Telly Lovelace, the guys working at the RNC, these are great, loyal African-American Republicans who have been out there doing serious work, and their job is being made more difficult because the top of the ticket continues to interact with Ku Klux Klan members, allow people to say hostile things in his rallies,
Wait a minute,
say terrible things in the past. And when he does those things, it makes it much more difficult for the African Americans who are committed Republicans to do their work. And when you have guests like the gentleman who I'm speaking to now, who acts as if somehow the liberal media has outsmarted the 15% of African Americans who vote for the Republican Party, he treats black voters like they're stupid rather than taking responsibility for his own.
You know what, sir? You are part of the ugly discourse. Mr. Trump has never associated himself with Ku Klux Klan members, okay?
That's bullshit. He sure has, okay? And I got a hot topic for you. In a rally that he had, I think it was, I did a video on it 2 days ago when he did a rally in Florida. What do you got to say about those guys that were unfurling a flag with Trump's name on it, and the flag happened to be a Confederate flag? I wish he had that thrown in his face to see what his response was going to be on that one.
Gentlemen, Sean Jackson and Jason Johnson, gentlemen, thank you. I know this is a heated topic. We can go on for hours, but unfortunately we've run out of time. We're going to have to leave it at that, and I appreciate both of your insights, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See, the problem is, even the people who would normally vote for Donald Trump, and I'm talking about African American people, that 15%, even they're not voting for Trump. So, my friend, you got a goddamn hard road to hoe. You're living in a fantasy land. Those bullshit coons, Pastor Scott and Omarosa, and there's about 4 or 5 other of them, they are not going to be able to get your job done because Donald Trump is a racist. He is a white supremacist. He's already talking about the black population in Philadelphia, and if he loses Pennsylvania, which he will, he's going to claim that the black population in Philadelphia is guilty of voter fraud and that people were walking into the polls 4 or 5 times voting for a Democrat. What kind of an insult is that? But of course, guys like this will not recognize that this guy is insulting us. I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is the greatest thing in the world, because they damn sure aren't. But at least they talk a good game. Like in Donald Trump, he doesn't even talk a good game, and he gets idiots like this to come out there and try to blow sunshine up our asses and expect us to smile and like it. Nah, that doesn't work. Sorry, buddy.